So Mark, we've been talking a lot about chatterbaits recently. We did an Underwater Wednesday episode on them, and out in the barn we talked about the differences between a chatterbait and a spinnerbait. In that episode, you mentioned that chatterbaits aren't good with like wooded areas.
Yeah, they have a tendency to roll and get caught in wood and snag up in wood quite a bit.
What if somebody still prefers to throw a chatterbait over a spinnerbait and wants to know how to fix that problem or alleviate that issue?
I've got 2 tips on how to reduce the number of times that you would get snagged in wood if you're throwing that chatterbait near wood cover. So why don't we talk about that when we come back, okay?
Okay.
All right, stick around, guys. We'll talk about how to get your chatterbait from getting snagged on wood cover. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everyone. I'm Megan Fuller.
I'm Mark Fisher.
Before we get into this, I want to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow it, and that would be really helpful for us. Also, if you like the video, push the like button and send us your comments and suggestions on new video topics and what you think of the videos we make right now.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
We've been talking about chatterbaits a lot. But we've got different, whether it was comparing the Evo to the jackhammer, comparing a chatterbait to a spinnerbait. Now we're just talking about the chatterbait itself and how to keep it from getting hung up in the wood.
Okay.
One of the downsides that we told you about, and remember we talked about this, we kind of have the chatterbait, and you know that when a chatterbait kind of comes over wood, that it has a tendency to kind of fall over. And if it falls over, then the next thing that happens is that it gets snagged. If my finger was a piece of wood, now you're stuck on that branch.
Okay.
The reason that happens is, well, there's 2 things. One is that if you're using a trailer bait, a soft plastic that has, look at what the tail's doing right now.
Oh.
It's flopping over to one. It's only got one choice: flop one side or flop the other side.
Right.
So if you get to a piece of wood and it changes that keel action where it tilts to one side or the other, which it's going to do, that tail's going to bring it over.
Right.
And sure enough, when that tail brings it over, guess where the hook goes? Right into the piece of wood. So fishing a chatterbait with a longer minnow type tail is going to increase the number of times that you get snagged if you go over wood.
Okay.
All right. So the solution to that is, rather than fishing that type of a trailer, if you're around a lot of wood, you can fish something like a pit boss, for example, any kind of a beaver style bait. Okay. And when you do that, I'm just going to rig this on real quick. And you see now that what happens is that at this point, I have the bait is swimming along this way, and it's got a flat bottom. So when I come over the wood, it stays flat, and look at where that hook is. Right up straight away from the branch, and it's going to come over that nice and easy. Okay. And this type of a blade still gives you that profile that you want of a bluegill with the tails and things like that, but you got a flat bottom and it's going to come right over the wood. So that's one way to not get snagged with your chatterbait. The other, and this is something that I learned after doing the Evo test that we did before, is that the Evo head is much wider than the jackhammer head. And so what we've got, and if you can take a look real close, the Evo actually has 2 little almost pontoons or runners on the side there. See that one right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what happens is the Evo bait in and of itself is actually a smoother running bait, regardless of the trailer. But obviously, if you put a beaver style bait on the back of this, it's going to be great. But this bait in and of itself, the Evo, actually swims better over cover just because of the way the head is designed than its predecessor, the jackhammer. So my 2 tips if you're throwing chatterbaits around wood cover is, number 1, if you can, throw the Evo. And number 2, put some type of a flat beaver style bait as your trailer, and that should get you through that wood cover just fine.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Guys, I hope this makes sense to you as well. Again, we've got content coming out Monday through Friday, so stick around tomorrow for another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.